Good evening and welcome to GPA Trading Services Master Trader Program webinar. So pleased to see all of you with us this evening. I hope you're ready for some fun and learning along the way. I'd like to introduce myself. I am Trish N. Albrecht. I'm the co-founder of GPA Trading Services, and I will also serve as your co-hostess for tonight's event. Now, if you've not had an opportunity to visit our website, there's a screenshot we took for you, and we invite you to peruse over and check out everything that we have to offer. We have photos to share, information about our business, all sorts of things for your viewing pleasure. So we invite you to visit us over at gpatradingservices.com. Next up, since you are a new audience for us this evening, I'd just like to share a little bit about who we are. This is Gary and I. One of our passions is travel. We love to visit new locations around the world and have exciting adventures. And one of our favorite places on earth is Maui. Love Hawaii, and Maui in particular holds a favorite place in our hearts. We had a live event with our students from around the world in Maui, did a wonderful event there, and Gary and I have vacationed there many times, and this was our recent trip. We were there for a month and enjoyed all the beauty, and as you can see, a gorgeous sunset behind us. It's one of the wonderful things about trading is that you're not locked to your desk, so you can get out and enjoy this beautiful world and trade all along the way. Also, we'd like to introduce you to our beautiful daughters. I'm very proud of our girls. They also serve as our GPA Trading Services mascots, Fancy and Felicity Albrecht, and they're out on the back patio enjoying their lovely patio furniture and this lovely summer weather that we're enjoying. Now, on to tonight's topic. Tonight's topic is supercharge your trading results by anticipating future market conditions utilizing the MPAP2 software. We here at GPA Trading Services, we are a trading education-based firm, and our area of expertise and forte is creating truly one-of-a-kind custom software. Yes, TD, they do have their own furniture. They reap the benefits from all of our hard work and efforts. So yes, they live in the lap of luxury. With that in mind, tonight the focus and goal of this webinar is to open your mind and broaden your trading horizons to new possibilities, what you can achieve and what you can accomplish utilizing our amazing MPAP2 software. We've been in the business for many years, proudly training and educating students from around the world. And this is our true passion and dedication. Now, we love to share mantras. We believe in positive affirmations and things to focus and think about on your journey to obtaining your goals. And this is one that we think is very important. Learning is not attained by chance. It must be sought for with ardor and attended to with diligence. Let me repeat that. Learning is not attained by chance. It must be sought for with ardor and attended to with diligence. Very powerful statement and very true statement. Absolutely. Now, before I turn things over to Gary, I'd like to read a bit of Gary's bio to you. Gary's had a very illustrious career. He's a man of many talents. And this is just a little brief bio. In Gary's former life, he was a top expert on pharmaceutical and medical education. He's presented to some of the highest rated thought leader physicians in the world and explained super complex medical protocols, which is a feat in and of itself. Gary then turned this amazing gift of explaining complex ideas and activities to trading education. And Gary refers to this as his true calling, and I can absolutely attest to that. And he never looked back. Gary has been a professional trader for the past 20 years. He has devoted his time and attention to educating students around the world for over a decade. Gary has conducted numerous live events along with a platinum membership program, as well as private mentoring to his dedicated students. Gary's also the creator of truly one-of-a-kind custom software. He has the rare talent of translating his trading methodologies into cutting-edge trading software in order to complement any style trader in any financial market. He's absolutely passionate about providing his students with an unparalleled trading software and trading education. His primary goal is to make sure everyone who uses his system and follows his suggested rules does not fail in trading. We have a disclaimer, your typical disclaimer, which we must post and we want you to peruse. And I also have some highlighted points which I will read to you. Trading is not suitable for all people, as you know. Some markets are leveraged, and therefore it is possible to lose money deposited for a position. A person should only use funds they can afford to lose and that fits within their overall financial plan as developed by a qualified financial planner. Never risk more than 2% of your entire account balance on any one given trade. Options traders never risk more than 5% of your entire account balance on any one given options trade. Always adhere to strict proper money management. Golden rule. All information in this presentation is for your educational purposes only and should not be taken as investment advice nor as a recommendation or endorsement to buy or sell any specific investment. Trade at your own risk. Now, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Gary, and he's going to walk you through his portion. And then I'm going to come back on and discuss more with you and answer any questions you may have. So now I'd like to say please sit back, relax, and enjoy. And here's Gary. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. As my wife and business partner announced, my name is Gary R. Albrecht, founder and CEO of GPA Trading Services. I'm the creator of the MPA, which stands for the Market Price Anticipator software. I'm the creator, the educator, and the instructor. So we're unique in that I truly created the software, I actually trade the software, and I'm also the instructor of the software. And as I like to say, hey, who better than I to teach you how to use the software I created? Briefly, I just wanted to let you know I'm very excited and honored to be presenting to you tonight. And with that in mind, I thought it would be nice to just dispense with a lot of the more traditional intro slides so we can get to the fun stuff, which is learning to properly analyze and trade the markets. I mean, really, what could be better is, I must admit, I am truly dedicated and passionate about teaching and providing traders with a solid education in order to successfully maneuver the markets. I am, however, a bit limited on time this evening, so we will cover just a mere smidgen of the actual wealth of information I endearly impart to my students during each of our live trading classes. And our classes, our live trading classes, I like to leave no stone unturned. I cover it all. So let's begin. As someone absolutely driven and focused on providing a complete and comprehensive trading program, I would not stop until I achieved my goal of creating the pinnacle trading program, thus the birthplace of the MPA PE2 Master Trader program. We have truly revolutionized the world of trading, to put it mildly. And one of the key components featured in the Master Trader program is our shining star, the MPA PE2 software. The MPA PE2 software is highlighted by two crucial components known as triggers and slingshots. The triggers and slingshot methodologies have the potential to change your life as a trader forever. They are the wow and the aha moment you have been dreaming of. Now, with that said, we only have time to slightly touch on the intriguing trigger and slingshot strategies during tonight's presentation. However, we covered in great depth and detail in our live trading classes, as well as within our vast members video library. So let's dig right in. What are key components in anticipating future market conditions? They are support and resistance. They're the direction and strength of the trend. They're utilizing multiple time frames. And most importantly of all the three combined would be understanding how the lower time frames cycle within the larger time frames, as we refer to it as the line of progression. And you'll hear a lot about that this evening. Now let's take a moment for support and resistance. On a chart, price tends to move and follow from resistance down to support, then from support up to resistance. When it breaks one or the other, it tends to flow to the next level. In this, our software actually calculates specific levels of support and resistance. And this is an example of the euro dollar. It could be the S&P, Dow, stocks, futures, commodity, forex, doesn't matter the symbol. It's simply a matter of where support and resistance is located. And we nickname these as battle zones. An area that was former support, turn resistance. In this case, we turn from former resistance to support, found for support, went higher, then went on to find some additional support as we bounce to the next level of resistance. But the software automatically calculates these levels, as you can see highlighted by these red boxes. So it doesn't matter if I'm on a 15-minute chart, a 30-minute chart, an hour chart, 4-hour, daily, etc. Each time frame calculates its own specific areas or battle zones of support and resistance. Here we can see we had a very strong area of support that once the euro finally broke below that area of support, it then turned it from support to resistance. Then it went on to drop several thousand pips during that simple converting support to resistance and continuing with the trend. We see another level where it found support, then turned to resistance and continued its journey down. So notice the software again will automatically calculate those levels, so you don't have to wonder, where is my support and where is my resistance? Now, next up, well, that's fine, Gary. We know support and resistance. Everyone's aware of support and resistance. Well, the key is to know where that critical support and resistance is, and then to figure out from there, do I sell or buy? Well, common sense would tell us we should be buying from support and selling from resistance. But you would be surprised how many traders try to sell into support and buy into resistance and wonder why when they buy, the market goes against them, and when they sell, the market goes against them. Next up is the trend direction. So it's important once we have our support and resistance, what direction is the trend? You'll notice that when the trend, and we have two particular areas of interest I want you to focus on as my red dot is illustrating. We have a trend momentum and a price action indicator. These two are proprietary indicators, and as the trend momentum I like to call for short TM, and the price action indicator I call the PAI. Whenever the TM and the PAI are moving in the same direction, as in this case illustrated to the downside, price moves lower. When they move to the upside, as we see here moving from the oversold back towards overbought, price moves up. And you'll notice that trend continues. Whether it's moving down, both pointing down, price moves down. Both pointing up, price moves up. And most recently, price has been moving down, headed down, and now we're starting to see the early stages of a turn and reversal. We'll get into that in a moment. And it doesn't matter if it's forex, stocks, futures, commodities. If the key is I must know my support and resistance, I must know the strength and the direction of the trend. And then once I have that all figured out, we utilize and align those time frames together. Well, what does that mean exactly, aligning time frames? Well, once in this example, we can see now this is for black gold Texas tea, the Beverly Hillbillies, otherwise known as oil. We see on a monthly, our monthly time frame, you see a monthly, it's illustrated by this MN. We see our PAI is turning over, headed lower. Our trend momentum is headed lower, and price is starting to move lower. At the same time in which we're getting that monthly to turn over, our weekly is also in the process of topping and rolling. Trend momentum turning over, price action indicator, PAI turning over. So this is at the exact point, high point here is the same point as illustrated here. So this is what we mean. We have a monthly turning over, at the same time a weekly's turning over, at the same time a daily is turning over. And I can assure you, no matter what you want to trade, again, stocks, futures, commodity, forex, treasury bills, I don't care what the financial market, when the time frames align, that's when price starts to move. So it's critical that we not only get our support and resistance, our direction of the trend, but then we line them up across multiple time frames. This is an example of the pound-dollar currency pair. And you'll notice we have the same scenario. We're in the process of topping and rolling, PAI, trend momentum, topping and rolling and heading lower as price starts to move lower. Well, as the time frames start to align together, my 4-hour is aligned with the daily, and my 15, 30, 1 hour is aligned with the 4-hour, we get these triggers. You'll notice you see here, we have large triggers, red, small triggers, green, light green, different triggers for different scenarios of how the market and times are lining up. So we automated this system via the trigger system. So when I get a large dark red trigger, it means not only is the 4-hour topping and rolling, but it automatically knows my daily time frame, the next higher time frame, is also in a position of topping and rolling. And it looks to the left and says, okay, not only is my daily ready, I'm ready, but the lower time frames are also ready. So I have a question for you, ladies and gentlemen. If you ever find yourself, when you place a trade, the market seems to go against you. Well, I went long and the market goes down. I went short and the market goes up. That seems to always happen. Well, the reason that's happening is not that the broker is out there looking for you, TD, and says, okay, TD just went short, we're going to push the market higher. They're not even aware of TD and what he's trading. So what's happening is you're not paying attention when you place a trade to what the lower time frames are doing. So what we're going to show you in this hour as we spend time together is the importance of learning the trend and the cycles. The time frames and price, no matter the strength of the trend, is always going to go in a stair-stepping fashion. And what does the stair-stepping fashion mean? Some people refer to it as the ebb and flow of the market. Well, it's based on the cycling time frames. When the time frames are cycling down, you get markets to start moving lower. But if it's cycling against higher time frames, like a 4-hour moving up, and my 15-minute, my 30-minute starts to head against it, then the 4-hour is ultimately going to win out as it then finishes that down cycle. The lower time frames get back with an up cycle and continue stair-stepping. So we're going to show you the importance of this software, A, and B, you ever heard the term buy the dip in the uptrend or sell the rally in the downtrend? This software is smart enough to look all directions. It looks below what the lower time frames are doing, it looks on the current time frame, and it looks on the higher time frame to give you that information at a quick glance, and you know it's there. And then that's when you know whether I'm simply scalping a short-term position or I'm in a position where I'm going to continue to scale in for long term, whether it be hours to days to weeks to months. And the answer is directly proportionate to the higher the time frames that are aligned, the longer your trade will last and the further you expect price to move. So it's simple. We also, as I mentioned, get triggers down, get triggers up. When the cycle completes and it's ready for the down cycle, we get red triggers. When the cycle completes and we're ready for an up trigger, we get green triggers. All about cycling time frames. And if you'll notice, we have these gold triggers. Those represent take profit triggers. This system is so ingenious that if you're in a long position, it's telling you in advance, hey, we should be peeling off some profits if we haven't already done so, because the market's about to turn in a little correction before then continuing. Well, how do I know I should close the trade here or let it continue to run and buy that dip? That's where the cycle of the higher time frames comes in. So now we looked at support and resistance, trend direction, utilizing multiple time frames. Now we're going to go for the full Monty here and talk about how understanding the lower time frames as they cycle within the higher time frame, that's going to give us our line of progression. This is the one that will tell us, do I buy the dip in an uptrend and continue with the longer direction? Or is this a top and reversal and I must change my long position, close it, and now go short? The line of progression will fulfill that information for you. Here's black gold again. Remember the same setup we showed you a minute ago. We had the weekly, monthly, daily topping and rolling. At the same time, The daily was turning over at the same point in time my weekly was turning over. We also showed you the monthly was turning over. And yes, black gold went up here from around that 107 area, went all the way down to the 43 handle. Huge move on black gold. How did we know that was going to unfold, and could we have anticipated that in advance? Yes, you'll hear about the cycling time frames, and we go through this process of triggers and slingshots. So as the market starts to move, my monthly down, my weekly down, my daily down. Eventually, TD, we're going to have the daily go against us. Jerry, we're going to have the daily go against us at some point. The daily will start to cycle back up. But is the daily going to cycle in reverse and make new highs, or is the daily going to make a lower high and then turn over with the trend down and make a lower low? Notice what the software does to this process of slingshots. We go up, we form this little slingshot formation, and then it whips back and moves to a new low. And notice this daily, it continues to slingshot lower and lower and lower, over and over and over and over and over, and it repeats itself continuously until what? Until the higher time frame starts to turn back the opposite direction. So what does this do for me as a trader? What allows me to get into a short, and when it starts to go against me, I know to take profits. We get profit triggers, but it also tells me that based on the higher time frame, we anticipate this behavior of slingshotting lower and lower and lower in advance, just simply looking at the direction of the higher trend. And as long as that weekly trend momentum and PAI stayed down, the daily repeats this performance. You'll see it with a daily headed down in a 4-hour. You'll see it with a 4-hour headed down in a 1-hour. You'll see it with a 15-30. It works on all time frames. It works on any market condition. It works all the time. Until finally, here's pound dollar. We'll see it. Does it work to the upside? Yeah, it works to the upside the same way. We have a monthly on the pound dollar starting to turn to the upside. Trend momentum still down, but the PAI is in the early stages of turning up. At the same point, we have a weekly that is already trend momentum and PAI turned up. The pound's been climbing based on the monthly starting to turn, the weekly turning, the daily turning. All three were in agreement. Notice what happens. During the time in which we get this daily, weekly, monthly starting the process of the pound moving higher, watch what the 4-hour does within that daily. My 4-hour starts to go higher with the initial surge. Then as my 4-hour turns over, starts to head down, we form a slingshot up. Well, how did I know this would actually form a slingshot higher and repeat itself over and over and over? Because the daily continued to point up. So if my 4-hour turns over for a sell cycle and my daily says, no, I'm not ready, I'm going straight up, I'm going straight up, I'm not going to turn, I'm going to go up, then we look for the 4-hour to depressurize, as we call it, move from overbought, form that slingshot. Bear with me, because I'm going to show you something that's really going to blow your mind about these triggers and slingshots. So we can see in any market condition, here's gold. Right? Stocks, futures, commodity, forex, doesn't matter. Monthly on gold, weekly on gold, daily on gold, early stages of turning back to the upside, 4-hour. Before we got this down cycle, the daily was moving down. My 4-hour did what as it was topping and rolling? It slingshotted lower. It slingshotted lower. Then it reversed. Why? Because at the right edge of this bottom reversal here, my daily starts to turn up. So gold starts soaring to the upside. I'm simply watching the time frame cycle up and down. What's a cycle? Going from oversold to overbought, overbought to oversold. And the definition and the job of these two indicators is to move from one extreme to the other. The only time that extreme can be interrupted is through this process of slingshots. That's it. It's either going to move from oversold to overbought, or it's going to take a hiatus and hang out oversold or hang out overbought via this slingshot phenomenon. So again, it doesn't matter the market. We see the same principle over and over and over. Now, we talked about several components that were important. Show me how you've automated this. The software calculates and does all this for us. All the rules of engagement are built in. All the signs, triggers, slingshots, everything's built in. How does it work in current up and down market when you're not consistent up or consistent down trend? You focus on the lower time frames, David. I don't care if we're in a consolidating market, right? We're range bound in certain markets. The higher time frames are not really going to be moving a whole lot because there's very little market movement. But as you're range bound, the lower time frames are going to cycle up, cycle down, cycle up, cycle down, and they're going to exhibit the same behavior. So the reason I'm focusing on trending markets, because most traders out there that think they have a good understanding of trading will go, oscillating indicators, they don't work in trending markets. They're great for consolidating and range-bound markets because they cycle up and down. But man, when you start trending, they don't work. That's where this proprietary slingshot phenomenon is the best thing in the world for trending markets. That's how we know when to sell rallies in a downtrend. Great question. And I'll show you how that's demonstrated in the lower time frames. So notice, we're still in the fact that we're saying, okay, here's this move on the pound to the upside. My weekly started to move higher, right? It's bottoming and reversing, giving us a nice trigger to say, look, we're reversing, we're going up. My daily at the same time is also triggering higher down at this swing point low. But when the daily finishes that cycle and starts going against the move, right? Here's my weekly up, trend momentum PAI up. My daily makes the same cycle from oversold towards overbought. Then it turns over and says, okay, we're going to get a nice little downtrend. We were in class, the students were long on the pound. We actually took this as a scalping trade short, made about 300 pips on the scalp trade. And I told everyone, as soon as this forms and turns right back up, we're going to close that short scalping trade and continue with the long trade. We called this days in advance before it turned, and long before as it was turning and slingshotted back up, we called it. But notice what it does. On the 4 hour, as my daily is turning over, what exactly is the daily turning over for? My 4 hour time frame is cycling down. My daily starting to cycle down. And why after 1, 2, 3 days does the daily go, okay, I'm ready to go back up? It's because this 4 hour has now bottomed in oversold territory and is reversing back up. So I'm watching the cycles, and as my 4 hour not only told me, hey, I got a daily slingshot engaging, when do I enter? When it triggers on the lower time frame. Bingo. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pips on the pound. And again, it's all based on what? Weekly turned up. As the weekly was turned up, the daily started to depressurize. Once my 4 hour finished its down cycle and turned back up, the daily said, I'm ready to go, as evidenced by this formation. And when it turned back up via trigger higher, boom, hundreds and hundreds of pips. And again, how else do we automate it? We actually put it into an electronic scanner. So this scanner is completely customizable. I can put currency pairs in here. I can put stocks, commodities, whatever symbol that's located within the market watch of that platform, I can specifically list. This is just some currencies for you. And the reason I'm calling this out, notice what information's at a quick glance. First off, it tells us every time frame from the 1 minute down to the monthly. Notice this on right here. It says on. Well, I can go through my settings, customize it to say, okay, I'm not a scalper. I'm not interested in these lower time frames. I'm interested in the higher time frame. And I want to know when I get a trigger to go long or trigger to go short to sell a currency, a stock, a future, a commodity. It can actually send alerts to you based on whatever time frame you're interested in. So you could turn these to off and leave the ones of interest on, or you can have it send you alerts for everything. Notice what else it gives us. You see these little arrows up and down. We have red arrows, pink arrows, green arrows, light green and dark green. Well, what does all that mean? That's the direction of my trend. Is my trend down on that time frame? Is it just starting to turn over and has a slight without separation? Or is it a strong downtrend? Or my other time frames are green. It's just starting to turn up. Is it a strong trend higher? It's based on the type of arrow you receive, but it instantly tells me my trend is up, down, or neutral based on the time frame. Goes on to then tell me, okay, where are these phenomenal slingshots? Where are they forming? Are they forming up? Are they forming down? If they're pink or red, that means they're forming to engage to the downside. As you see, dark red, it's engaged. Light pink is forming before it engages. And then green or dark green represents they're forming to slingshot higher, engaging or forming. So not only do I know the direction of the trend at a glance per time frame, I know where these slingshots are forming and when they're getting ready to engage. And again, we go further. Remember those triggers we talked about? Well, now we also illustrate right next to it triggers up or triggers down. Whether it's a large trigger, a small trigger, red trigger, pink trigger, green trigger, doesn't matter. The triggers are also part of this quick analysis. So I can instantly tell based on the dollar CAD, hey, my trend is down, I'm getting triggers up, meaning the time frames are about to cycle, or my trend is down and I'm getting triggers lower, when should I sell or buy? Monthly right there is giving me a trigger lower. Back then when this was firing, the CAD was in a downtrend. Recently, the CAD has made a huge move up when the dollar index started to strengthen, but we'll show you that in a moment. We also go on and give you the average daily range. So it's important if I'm trading a currency, a stock, commodity, whatever in which I'm trading, what is this average daily movement so that I know how much is left in the tank in order for me to trade it. Many traders say, oh, stock went up $2 today, but if its average daily range is $1 and it's already doubled that movement, I certainly wouldn't be buying it to go long. I would wait for a cycle down for it to correct before then I buy for the next potential move higher. And also, too, whether you have a trade or not running, it'll tell you have a trade, no trade, buy, it's a long trade or a short trade. All right. Next up is a second type of scanner called the MPA Slice of Heaven Finder 2. What in the world is this? This is part of those cycling time frames. It tells me based on a daily, a 4-hour, or 1 hour. Well, this too is customizable where I could tell it to give me a monthly, a weekly, and a daily. Or a 15-minute, a 5-minute, a 1 minute because I'm a scalper and I just want to get in and get out in the next 5-10 minutes. It will tell you where in relation is the cycle based on is a trigger firing, short, long, slingshot forming up or down, engaging, triggers, etc. So it pivots off of the highest time frame to then tell you where in that cycle is the 4-hour and the 1 hour. If I have a 15, it would tell me where in the cycle of that 15 moving up or down is that 5 located and the 1 located. So it's completely customizable. Everything I need. And this is the world's best friend right here, and I'm going to show you some results from these trades. And again, I can change this to any time frame in which I prefer by a simple click of a button. Now, let's look at the Euro Odd. This is one of the trades we took live in our class. Hundreds of our students from around the world participated, and if you'll notice, this is what we call our trade management system. Well, everything we talked about with slingshot formations, triggers, buy triggers, sell triggers, everything that we mentioned is automatically built in here. Notice it has a little mini console. It tells me where my slingshots are forming and or engaging per time frame. That's important. If I'm going to buy a dip in an uptrend and I have a slingshot engaging against an up move, I'm going to let that finish before I then enter. So it gives me timing issues as well. And not only is this unique because I can tell it to buy the dips in an uptrend. So notice what this is doing. Look, slingshot higher and higher and higher. Whoops, over and over and over. And I simply told this trade management system, which if you look closely, 1,142 pips and a continuation to the upside. It managed the trade and it gave us multiple scale-in opportunities every time it kept slingshotting higher. How did we know it was going to do that? because the monthly was moving higher, my weekly was moving higher, my daily was moving higher. So therefore, my 4-hour kept slingshotting higher and higher and higher in the direction of those higher time frames. Now the reason you're here is, okay, great. Software, I want to make sure, does it work? Does it absolutely give results? Here's a gold trade. Some of you can see this at home or not, but this is a $120 move on gold toward the upside. The move alone was worth $25,000 on gold. And it's simply based on, and this is color coded, so when this is green text, we're long, and if we're short, it would be red text. So we based this on the time frames aligning, and we scaled in the position while it ran over $110 toward the upside, and we were able to scale in several times due to those slingshots higher. How cool is that? Then when gold topped and reversed, we decided to ride it down another $105 toward the downside. Actually $150, sorry. Notice it's $30,000 trade right there on that one trade on gold. We wrote it $150 down on gold. By what? Multiple time frames topping and rolling, and simply allowing the time frames to align, getting out triggers, and entering the market. And as we slingshot lower in the lower time frames, we scale in as necessary. How cool is that? Notice the monthly. The monthly at that time had an engaging slingshot down. What in the world do you think that's doing to the downdraft of this move on gold? Monthly engaging down means my daily is going to continue to push lower, and when it finally bottoms, it's going to slingshot lower. Right there in front of you. $120, $150. Here's a student that trades, takes the signals from our software, places them in his trade station, and he tallied over 8,600 pips and counting. Notice it's multiple trades. If you tally all these numbers up, it tallies over 8,600. Well, based on that slice of heaven finder, this individual that's been with us for several years went on to say, hey, remember that 8,600 pips? It's now 18,300 pips and counting. And he goes to talk about his trade station account, and he wants to encourage others. Simply, look, I'm following the slice of heaven finder trades as they're cycling on the higher time frames, and I'm riding them down hundreds and hundreds and even thousands of pips. And he can't wait, because the slice of heaven finder is now starting to show signs of turning around in a new direction. So he's going to close those trades, maximize his profits, and start to reverse action as the time frames start a new cycle up. So remember what we're talking about so far. Cycling time frames, you get a buy cycle when they're bottoming, turning up. You get a sell cycle when they're topping and rolling. And during a sell cycle, if my higher time frames are in an uptrend, we can sell that, but we know it's a scalp, so that once that sell cycle finishes and turns back to a buy cycle, we buy the dip in the uptrend. How do we know that? We simply look to the right side of the chart, the higher time frames. And that's what this slice of heaven finder does for you. Again, here's his actual trade station, not just in an email. Here's a picture of the trade station. Now here's those multiple trades running, now tallying up. Several of these are several thousand pips as you go in and tally all these together. The system is unbelievable how accurately it will help trend continuation moves, entries, exits, and take profits. Here's that gold trade again, moving toward the upside. We catch gold up, down, and even since gold for the last several months has been a channel between 1306 and that 1131, then it started to compress between 1224 and 1170 area. We're still nailing it up, down, sideways, in every direction. How cool is that? Here's the pound dollar, riding the pound down. Here's multiple trades, currency, stocks, whatever we trade is in here, tallying over $28,000. Multiple trades. Now, here's a straight options trader that joined our service. Well, Gary, he told me, he said, Gary, I've always been an option trader. I don't know anything about the forex. Why should I join your service? Well, I said, this software, if you think about option trading, It's based on the underlying stock moving or not moving, depending on the type of option strategy you use. But it's based on the underlying stock price moving up, moving down, or perhaps staying range bound. This software will tell you when you're optimal for a move up, when you're optimal for a move down, and when they're battling each other out, when they're optimal to stay range bound. Well, I'll just briefly touch the highlight. He said, I'm in a short position, and he made $1,200. Then he re-entered for another $300, both using options. Critical point. If I had done this on my own, he'd have bailed on that trade a long time ago for a loss. But he continued to allow this to take profits, and now if black gold, which is we call oil, goes through, he will then have enough to pay for his subscription. So he joined us. He not only joined us to pay for his subscription when he first joined, but within the first month he made enough money to pay for his annual subscription. And he went on to do private mentoring, all from a few trades in a matter of a few weeks, and he's already in our second year and continuing. One thing I'll say that we know we're very proud of is our students we have been with us for 5 and 6 years. Not come in and go out, come in and go out. They stay because the system works. But let's continue. Thanks for all your hard work in developing the system. As Price proves its intentions, my ability to use the system keeps improving. He's dropping his financial advisors in several newsletters. Now he's able to save money paying his financial advisor in newsletters. He then went on to apply for a forex account to add to his Thinkorswim. And he can't wait, to use the system in his new software so that he can tell his Australian and Switzerland brokers to say, hey, buy this, sell this, buy this, sell this, based on the cycles. I personally just closed the trade on Ameritrade stock, and it went up and doubled my investment in a very short time, just simply following the cycles of time frames. Now let's go to the charts. So if everyone would type in yes when they see the chart, as I pull my charts up.
Someone wanted to look at the S&P.
I'm going to show you the S&P in just a moment. Everyone give me a yes. You can see the chart now. We're looking at Facebook for a quick second. Everybody see the Facebook? Okay, Robert, thank you. He says he can see it. I'm just going to show briefly the same phenomenon. We showed it with black gold, with currencies. Now I'm going to show you Facebook, very popular stock. And my weekly kept doing what? As my monthly was moving higher, my weekly kept slingshotting higher and higher and higher and higher. And we're in the midst, hard right edge, we're in the midst of another slingshot that's pulling price toward the upside. How do I know when it's time to buy these dips and the trend higher? How do I know when it's time to buy the dip? When the slingshot engages, right? Over and over and over, multiple times. But notice as I go to my daily during the same time frame, when it's ready to engage on a weekly, my daily is bottoming and reversing, giving me a trigger higher. We go through, here's another one. When my weekly was ready to engage, my daily was bottoming and triggering higher. And we go through the process, and I'll turn the auto scroll off, and we go through, here's the next one. When my weekly was ready to engage up, I saw signs of the weekly engaging, and what? My daily was triggering higher. When my weekly was ready, let me put that back. When my weekly was ready to engage up, what happened? My daily was triggering higher. So this is how we know. We simply look at the direction of the trend, and when it starts to depressurize and move lower, is it moving against the monthly up, or is it moving with the monthly down? Well, you can look at this behavior and automatically tell you that that monthly is in the process of moving higher. This is the behavior, signs and symptoms that are demonstrated. I don't care what the stock, future, commodity. Someone asked to look at the S&P. All right, let's look at the S&P real quick. I send trade alerts out on the S&P. I enjoy trading the S&P, and it's a fun thing to trade. Any E-mini traders out there? I know E-mini traders that love to take the S&P and trade it and make a point or two. So E-minis are based on the S&P moving a point. This system consistently banks 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 point moves on a consistent basis, over and over and over. Here's the latest trade alert. These trade alerts are unique. Not only does it tell you when to buy and what to shoot for as far as targets, but it teaches you how to trade and how the system cycles. So as we were moving lower, selling rallies in a downtrend, we said here, hey, my daily's starting to show signs of getting ready to turn as it's getting oversold. And the suggestion is to buy the 4-hour trend momentum and PAI when it turns back to the upside, and we're going to go long. We took this trade and we're up over 40 plus points. Just, it doesn't look like much on a daily, but what happened? As I go to the software, you can see exactly what happened. My daily was starting to bottom, and as my 4-hour cycle turned from down cycle to a buy cycle, down cycle to a buy cycle, that's when you were recorded to buy. We got a trigger to go long, and my daily is following suit. See it? It's slingshotting higher. So Gary, is this going to be the top and reversal and we're starting to stair step lower, and this is simply a retracement to the upside before getting a lower high and heading lower? Well, this is where the software can tell you. If my daily trend momentum and PAI stays pointing up, that's today going into tomorrow's session, then I'm going to look for an opportunity as my 4-hour starting to depressurize for it to do what? Anybody catching along already? If my daily stays pointing up, trend momentum and PAI, let me show you that again. If my daily trend momentum up, price action indicator up, stay pointing up, when that 4-hour starts turning over, I'm going to do what in the coming hours? I'm going to buy a 4-hour slingshot. Right? Pretty simple. How do we know it's going to do that? Just like it did over here. When the daily was headed down, we started to slingshot lower and lower and lower and lower. Over and over and over. My daily was headed down. Now my daily's turning up. So what's the 4-hour going to do? As long as that daily points up, it's going to start to slingshot higher and higher. And the great news is there's no way this can turn and drop all the way back down and make new lows without A, my 4-hour turning down and crossing down, but B, it's going to require the daily to change directions. So no way the S&P is going to go dropping this way without the daily turning. Right? So up and until my 4-hour forms another push higher, slingshot higher and higher on the 4-hour, as long as that daily stays up, the next trade alert is going to go out and say, hey, the 4-hour is in the process of depressurizing. If you're going to trade this short, be quick about it, because so far the 4-hour is turning, but the daily says no, shows no interest in turning. So next up is a simple 4-hour slingshot. And how do I know when this 4-hour is going to get ready to engage? When my 1-hour starts to get toward oversold territory. So what's the bias on the S&P? It's going to chop up and down, drift sideways to lower, while my sell cycle finishes. Notice we got a trigger. So if I'm a quick scalper, man, I can scalp down, scalp up, down, in all directions. But if I'm a long-term trader and I prefer to stay in it for a day or two or several days, then I allow the 4-hour cycle, 15, 30, 1 hour, we call that a sell cycle now because they're headed down. What's happening? My 1 hour's down, my 30's down, my 15 is down, right? That's a sell cycle still unfolding. So it's not over yet. 15, 30, 1 hour, and 4 hours starting to turn over. But what are they turning over into at the moment? They're turning over into a daily that says it's going higher. So one of two things is going to happen, Chi. As we saw here when my 4-hour turn directions, the trade alert came out in advance, long before this happened, to tell you to buy this, up 40 plus points. I said in that trade alert, hey, if the daily turns with it, then expect it to be a robust move. If the daily stays and does not turn when the 4-hour cycle's up, then we're going to look to sell a 4-hour slingshot. The daily turn, therefore we're letting it run further. Check this out, guys. This is no kidding. Here's some example of trades we placed in the last several days and the week before. Over and over and over. Here's dollar cash right there. There's the S&P. Bought at 1221, 2121, sold at 2070. Do the math. 21 to 70. That's 51 points. Down here, 21.11 sold at 21.50. Wow, that's to the upside. That's 40-point move. Again, 21.15 sold at 20.97. 18-point move. 21.15, a second profit taking at the same move. Go down further. Here's one at 2100, sold at 2140. 40-point move. Over and over and over. We get in, we get out. Euro dollar, pound dollar. Huge moves. $30,000 in the last couple of weeks. Simply trading multiple entries based on cycles of time frames. That's how cool this system is, by simply allowing the time frames to cycle and waiting for those setups. So I have a very simple rule. When I see traders out there, they try to make things so complicated, and other systems are so complicated. You'll hear those so-called gurus go, well, I got a system that will work on the S&P on a 15-minute time frame. Or I have a system that works on the euro dollar 1 hour time frame. And I have this, I have that. It works on this currency pair, but it doesn't work on anything else. Why bother? This system in the cycling time frame works on any currency, any stock, commodity, futures, forex, any symbol that's located within the market watch. Someone asks, well, what stock symbols are there available? Depends on which platform you're going to use, but you simply go up into the market watch, for example, and I'll maximize this and close that, and you can see there are literally over 800 symbols in here to choose from, and it includes stocks in the US, Europe, China. There's stocks all over the place. ETFs, gold, silver, commodities, futures, forex, treasury bonds. More than any one trader will ever need. When it comes down to it, does it really matter you can't trade all 5,000 stocks? If I trade 2 stocks and I become a millionaire, that's all it takes. I don't care about trading the other 4,999 stocks. So there's more than enough. Baidu, Amazon, there's IBM, there's tons of things in here. And again, it tallies into over 800 plus. And there are numerous stocks in here. Who cares if you can't trade every single one? Google's in here, Apple's in here. There's tons of stuff that common traders love to trade. There's treasury bonds. Again, you name it, it's in here. U.S. Treasury notes, the new China currency, you name it, it's in here. So the key is, all I got to do to trade any market is simply I align the 4 hour, 1 hour, 30, and 15. No matter if I'm scalping, day trading, position trading, I must know what the lower time frames are doing, because I promise you, if you align those lower time frames together, when you enter a long trade, you're not going to get the huge drawdown. When I enter short, I'm not going to get it go way up against me when my lower time frames are saying sell. That's why in the past, you might enter a trade based on a daily scenario. Well, my daily's doing something, let me enter now. And my 4 hour, 1 hour, and 30 are moving up in a buy cycle. So as soon as I enter short, price is going against me. And then I freak out because, uh-oh, the trade's going against me. I close it. Then all of a sudden it reverses back down, and days later I go, man, I should have stayed in that trade. All I had to be aware of is the cycle of those time frames. So I'm not going to sell when my lower time frames are in a buy cycle. I'm going to let them finish the buy cycle, turn to a sell cycle, then I'm going to sell. And we can get in these huge, even monthly trades with small stop losses. We look for signs and symptoms. So there are traders, again, that have been with me for over 6 years, 7 years. Most traders that have been in our service, and we're proud of that fact, have been with us for a long, long time. And I can give you anticipated moves. I'll show you the Aussie dollar, for example. Students that have been with me for years, we talked about the Aussie dollar back when the Aussie dollar years ago was pushing up into that 110 high. And I was telling our students, we rode that baby all the way up there, but I was telling our students, hey, As we start to top and reverse, I have a projected target for the Aussie dollar to go down to 70 handle. That was thousands and thousands of pips years ago. And sure enough, we surely did get here. Well, yeah, it started to turn, but notice when price is moving out of direction, you get warning signs. Hey, we're engaging back up. Hey, we're engaging back up, over and over. Then it starts to slingshot lower, what? When the time frames cycle. Notice here, we're able to 900 pip move higher, and my monthly started to turn, but what was this? This is a weekly cycle going up, a weekly cycle going down, the monthly reverse. A weekly cycle going up, weekly cycle going down, it slingshots lower. Notice the two lines. It means my weekly is cycling down, weekly cycling down. And we were able to peg this move not only target-wise, but this is the whole point. I can give you a projected target. We're going from point A to point B. And higher time frames, it's talking on a monthly perspective. It's years, yes. But along that journey, we see signs of a continuation. So even if I give you a smaller 200 pip target or 500 pip target, we're going to see signs of those time frames as they cycle against. They're going to slingshot lower if the signs remain the same and the time frame remains pointing down. Well, Gary, what happens if we think it's going lower here, this direction, all of a sudden it reverses? The time frames are turning, giving us a sign that no, we're not going to go down this way. We're turning back up and we're going to reverse. So the weekly did give us a retracement to slingshot lower. And I was sitting here salivating with our students going, guys, be ready to sell this Aussie dollar. It's going down. Projected is not only this 900, 800 plus point move, but should make a lower low based on that weekly slingshot. And this is something you can go back in the archives and you'll see where I talked about these levels and these targets I gave months in advance, years in advance. And even when we started to hit some of these target zones, I was saying, that's not the bottom yet. Signs and symptoms aren't telling me it's the bottom yet. Boom, went lower. Still not the bottom, still not the bottom. So is this the bottom? We need to see signs of a bottom reversal. Everybody like candlestick patterns? We need to see a low, a high, and a higher low, a price pattern reversal. Well, I also need the software to do cycles. If this weekly cycle continues down and we break a new low, then hey, well, why is it turning up right now? Weekly still down. The daily is cycling up. Wayne, this is going to blow your mind. I promise you. All I got to do is simply follow the direction of the trend, let the time frames align and go. And how do I know once I'm short on this, how do I know I'm going to stay in it for days? Right? Most recently, when this was moving down, and we got the Aussie dollar moving down several hundred pips, day after day after day after day after day, notice what the daily in this cycle has done for us. My daily goes from overbought to oversold. Overbought, overbought, oversold, overbought, oversold. Guess what the 4 hour does in between here? Anybody want to guess? 4 hour from the swing point high goes down with the direction of the daily. It tries to slingshot higher first, but once it bottoms, it does what? Slingshots lower and lower and lower and lower and lower and lower till the daily did what? Started to reverse. Everybody see this? Over and over and over. No matter how you slice it. If my daily trend momentum PI are pointing down, my 4 hour starts to reverse. My daily says, nope, I'm not turning with you. You're going the wrong way, buddy. It's going to slingshot back down. It's going to slingshot back down. It's going to do it over and over and over till the daily changes. So again, we showed you currency pairs, stock, futures, commodity, forex, gold. Where's gold headed? Well, here's what we're talking about. Someone said, well, what about if you're in a range-bound market? Remember, we've been taking gold by storm, and we've been following up. The good news is this range-bound is a huge margin for gold. Yeah, it stopped over here around that 13, and it bottomed over here to the left of the chart at 1131. And we have two primary kinds. It's either going to go this way or it's going to go that way. Well, that's brilliant, Gary. Right. But up and until price breaks the low to tell us that we're going this way, or until price breaks this high over here to tell us we're going to our upper targets, How do we trade it in between? Cycling time frames. So right now, gold, the daily is up. We've been riding gold up the last few days. We bottomed over here. We started to rally higher. You'll see the trade alert I sent out previously in a review said we're going to ride gold down to around 1165 to 1157 area. Reversed at 1162. Not too shabby. The daily's turning. We've been riding it up ever since. Up over $20 currently as we're moving higher. Well, what happened during the daily starting to turn? My daily's still up. Trend momentum's crossing up. PAI's crossing up. My 4-hour is in the process of turning over. Right? Everybody watching this? My 4 hours in the process of turning. What's it doing right now? Starting to slingshot higher. My daily didn't bend when the 4-hour started to move down. So what's the recommendation when the daily doesn't follow? Buy that 4-hour slingshot. And even on this latest move, it went from a low of 1175 and you're up at 1182. That's a $7 move already on a simple following the line of progression.
Can I utilize the software for binary options, forex?
Wayne, you can use the entry sell cycle. I trade stocks, futures, commodity, forex. I use options. I use them all. I trade them all. And I simply use the signals and I enter them based on signals. I sell and buy in my broker account based on the time frames aligning moving higher. So it doesn't matter, Wayne, if I'm going to place the trade in Thinkorswim, if gold goes up in any platform, gold's going up in all platforms, right? You're not going to see, oh, well, I use Thinkorswim and gold went down $50 today, but everywhere else gold went up $50. If that's the case, you better find you a new broker. You better definitely find you a new broker. If you're seeing, hey, everybody else went higher, my broker said it went lower, something's wrong. But it's just a matter of fact, simply following the cycle. What is this? Remember, what exactly is this 4-hour and why is it turning back up? One guess. We're talking about a 4-hour right now. My daily's still up. My 4 hours engaging back up. It's because what? My 1 hour cycling. Cycling up. Pretty simple. How cool is that? All right, I've been showing and displaying this for some time now. Let's get to the nitty gritty. What are you offering? Go back to the slideshow. What are we offering? Well, the Master Trader Program. Let's review. What exactly is that Master Trader Program, that truly pinnacle trading system? It includes the program. It includes the MPA Premium Edition 2 software. Ladies and gentlemen, we've only touched on a fraction of the software. It is loaded with tools. MPA Live Trade class. We average about 6 to 8 hours a week of live trading classes. We love to be in class. I'm not one instructor says, okay, class is from 8 to 10, and about 9:30 I'm staring at my watch to get out. I've stayed as long as 6-hour boot camp because we're having so much fun in class. I don't watch the clock. We trade and we educate so that you can do this on your own and you can do it while you're in class. And then, of course, the trade alerts. These are unique because it's more than just mere buy and sell. It gives you a primary trade of action and an alternate count of action, and it tells you exactly what the software is supposed to do. So one thing you'll notice that I give explicit instruction on, I'm extremely passionate about this. But when I'm watching, I will tell you in advance, if this is going to reverse, we're going to see this turn over, start heading lower, and if it's going to have any impact towards the downside, we're going to see this slingshot here turn and hook out. If I see the 1 hour start to flip over and I see this start turning out, I'm going to not only take profits on that long trade, I'm probably going to close it and go short because the 4 hour still has a finished cycle. If it doesn't continue to engage when the 1 hour cycles up, it'll still go higher, yes, but once the 1 hour starts to turn over, if this 4 hour turns out, we can see what that looks like on some of these. It can engage, disengage, re-engage, right? It can start the process and then turn back out. What happens when it turns back out? Well, my 1 hour cycling back up. So right now, my 1 hour cycling up, Well, if this starts to turn back down, what are we left with? We're left with the trend momentum down. And if this is no longer turned up, it's going to turn down. So we have a 4-hour down combined with the 1-hour down. Not now, but as the cycle continues. So it will give me signs, explicit signs. So what we call this is paint the Picasso. I will give you explicit instructions in advance as the software is cycling on. So you're going to look for this to do this. And when that happens and you see that trigger on the lower time frame, this is when you want to enter and take that trade. And while this is unfolding, you want to briefly take a quick look. Hey, my 4 hour has been turning down for several 4-hour candles. My daily's still pointing up and not being influenced by it. So that tells me that if it doesn't, then I'm going to buy that 4-hour slingshot. $7+ trade there on gold. Anybody trades gold, whether you trade it in inverse ETFs, however you trade spot gold, doesn't matter how you trade, you can make a lot of money on gold on a small move. $7, $8 move is huge. Absolutely huge. So let's continue. So what else is it? We talked about the software, the class, and the alerts. Refresh my memory exactly what that software is, Gary. Software is that market scanner we briefly showed you that had all the time frames and the triggers up, triggers down, slingshot formation, direction of the trend, as everything I need to know at a glance. It showed you the slice of heaven finder, and just to show you, here's the slice of heaven finder running currently, right? Different currency pairs, stocks. Here's Cisco, Facebook. Facebook setting up for a little downtrend. We trigger eyes short and we're cycling up right now, forming a slingshot up on the 1 hour. Well, guess what happens when this slingshot forms up? It's likely to fail because it's going against the daily, and when it cycles back to a sell cycle, I can take a quick scalp on Facebook. Cycling time frame. So it tells me what I need to know at a glance. Well, look, all I got to do is go into my expert advisor and say, you know what? I want to change this. I'm a trader and I want to do this. I'm a big time investment trader. I want this to be a monthly. So I want to know the big move. I want the monthly, the weekly, and the daily aligning. So I simply say, okay, then it starts to scan all your symbols and puts it in the monthly, weekly, daily time frame by a click of a button. How cool is that? Live action. Now, here's the live action of the scanner. And I'll just briefly show this to you. I'm going to make a nice offer for you. Here's the scanner running we just mentioned. Time frames I could turn on or off. Direction of the trend per time frame. What's the trend up? Is it down? Where the slingshots are forming. Where the triggers are forming. All that scenario is all over throughout at a glance. Quick glance to tell me what's happening as we speak. Right? As we speak. Alrighty. So, back to, what else is it, Gary? Well, we have the MPA slingshot trade triggers. In depth, we talked about these already. It includes the trade management system. That's the one that you saw on the right side of the equation. I can tell it to buy the dips in an uptrend. I could tell it to sell the rallies in a downtrend. I could tell it to sell slingshots, buy slingshots. I could tell it to sell triggers down, buy triggers up. It's completely customizable. Never seen anything like it. This trade management system is so smart that if my time frames are pointing up, Nicholas, and I tell it to sell something, it's going to tell me, hey dummy. No, I'm just kidding. It'll say, hey, you can't go short until the trend momentum turns or it's engaging in a slingshot. It won't even let you enter a short trade when the time frames and the trade time frame you're trying to trade. It'll automatically look out for your best advantage to say, nope, not a good time to get in. You're trying to go long when everybody's short. Wait until the cycle finishes, then I try to place that long trade, then it'll let you trade it. Totally cool. And it also goes beyond just that. It not only allows me to instantly enter a trade. I'm at my computer. Hey man, everything's setting up. I want to go long right now. Click and drag, click of a button, you're in the long trade. It'll manage the trade. It'll take profits along the way wherever you set them. And it will also, it's on-screen programming. So when I have it set at 100 pips, I want to move it down to 50. I click and move it down. And it will move my stop loss from at risk. Once I hit my first take profit, it moves my stop loss into profit. And then again, I could set it in advance. I know that daily is going to turn over and slingshot higher in the coming days. I can set it days in advance to tell it to buy that slingshot higher. So I can set it on a Monday and it might engage on a Thursday. Enter that long trade days in advance. Platinum Asia scalping system. Many traders out there work during the day and they probably can't be in the normal business hours, so they like to trade when they get home in the evening. We have a specific scalping system made especially for the Asia trading session. We have a other scalping system called the Triple P. This one can be used any time of day or night when the markets are open, and I can use it on the low time frames, the medium, middle, and high time frame. So I can use it to my advantage to scalp, to day trade, to position trade, following the same rule. This system right there will blow your mind. This will blow your mind. Your mind's shot and blown already on that, this, and this, and we're just getting started. There's more to come. So, top 10 reasons to trade the MPAP2 software. It calculates support and resistance levels automatically. It identifies the trend of each time frame. It monitors and tracks time frame cycles, whether they're in buy cycles or sell cycles. It's all built into this wonderful trade management system down here. Like I said, I can't sell when the system is in a buy cycle. I can't buy when the system's in a sell cycle. How cool is that? Monitors and tracks time frame cycles, provides consistent entries, exits, take profit levels based on trade triggers, slingshots, and profit triggers. As I just reviewed, the trade management system, you can set it in advance. Customizable entry criteria, meaning I want to buy the dip in an uptrend, I want to sell the rally in a downtrend. I want to buy that daily slingshot a week from now, or whenever, today, tomorrow, next day, whenever it engages. Or my 4-hour slingshot. Set it in advance. TMS automatically manages trade from entry to exit. So once I'm in the trade, it will monitor it, it will move to take profit. When it hits it, it'll close that part of the trade. It continues to monitor it and let it run. And you can, like I just told you, move my stop loss deeper and deeper into profit. I can expand my take profit levels higher. I can move them down tighter. And I can even one-click button go ahead and take profit 2, 3 anytime. Nothing like this if you ever had your ability to use, much less appreciate what's in the trade management system. And of course, it fits any trading style. Now we're talking scalper, day trader, position trader, option trader. I don't care what you're trading. I promise you, you can have an option strategy. Gary, I've been trading options for 100 years and I've been very successful. Well, count your blessing. God bless you and count your blessing. There are a lot of option traders out there losing their rears. Well, if you have a system and a strategy that works for you, guess what? This software will only supercharge your results, because the markets aren't going to move down when all the time frames are saying up, and the market's not going to move up when all the time frames are down. So if I'm in a strategy, then it would only help fine tune and add robust results to that successful strategy. It will make any system better. Dual scanners, we just mentioned, it's looking for the next big market, next big trade setup. It works on over 800 symbols, stocks, forex, futures, ETFs, commodities, treasury bills, you name it. More than enough than you'll ever. I've got students I've been using this system with for a long time, and they haven't scratched the surface to trading all the things that are available to them. Consistently delivers low risk, high reward, high probability trades. Now I know you've heard this before. Everybody likes to talk about low risk, high rewards, and high probability. Well, what's the definition of that? Multiple time frames when they align gives me high probability trades. My risk is very low when I monitor the lower time frame. When I enter long in my 15, 30, 1 hour, 4 hour all moving higher, then I am good to go in a long position, and very unlikely we're going to see much drawdown. But Gary, does this system ever fail? Yeah, it's possible to get the right setup and the markets tend to reverse and go against you, but guess what? It can't go against you without signs and symptoms. Well, Gary, what do you mean by that? What in the world do you mean by sign and symptom? Remember, if I'm in a long trade and I get a trigger, the only way it can go lower is by slingshotting lower, and we'll see signs of that formation against us. Right? You won't see this just forming and engaging against you without it. But remember, once I'm in that trade and I have the trade management system or the scanner up, it has that little console right in front of me telling me what is on the horizon for me. Notice it has the little scanner, the little monitor here. So if I'm going to trade this and I buy this long, or I'm selling something up here based on a signal, and I say, okay, the only way I can have a trigger firing short to go against me is by a slingshot up against me. So I will see it forming, I will see it getting ready to engage against me, and that's when I can take my profits and close for a small trade, or go to break even +1. If it pips me out, then it turns right back to where I was in there anyway. My 4 hours still down, my daily still down, then I just re-enter. But there's no way you can be at your computer and not get a sign of a reversal coming at you based on the cycling time frames reversing and or a slingshot engaging against you, meaning I'm in a short position and it's now starting to engage against me. It's there, and you'll hear me talk a lot about signs and symptoms. That's what cycling time frames gives us, signs and symptoms. All right, in conclusion, we're going to give you a special opportunity to sign up for the special program. We're going to give you a special offer. The special offer is for the Market Price Anticipator PE2 Software Master Trader Program. Remember what that is. Software, the classes, and the alerts. The Holy Trinity, right? All three, for 1 month trial for $97.
Wow.
That's unbelievable, considering this software, I traded this against a software that cost $20,000. I bought the $20,000 software, and I went to the class where the instructor was saying his software, and he was about to get into a move on the S&P, and he says, based on our software, everybody sell the S&P. And I typed in the first day of that class, and I said, nope, you want to buy the S&P. They got a slingshot engaging against you. And Nicholas, everybody in that class probably looked at my entry and said, what a dummy. He's new, we never seen him before, and he's saying buy. And then about 15-20 minutes later, when they all got stopped out, everybody in the room started typing, who is this Gary? What is this slingshot engaging? What is that?
This is many moons ago.
And this is many moons ago, before this software is in the conditions in now with all these new cool tools and accessories. And it beat a $20,000 software. $97 for the software, the class and the alert. The classes alone, as I mentioned, many students that join us, if they're fortunate enough to enjoy the trial, many of them have already signed up for the annuals based on just a few trades. And again, they've been with us for years. How do I get a hold of it? You click on this link, www.gpatrading.com/GPA trial. Trisha's going to post that in the chat dialogue, so you'll see it now. You just click on that hyperlink and it'll take you to your subscription page. And all you got to do, as soon as I sign up, it's going to send you an email, and I'll go to our website real briefly to give you an idea what that looks like. Once, and here's this area of our world map of students from around the world that represent a GPA trading. Here are the fun pictures we showed you a few of on the website. But what happens when I first log in and sign up, make my credit card payment for $97, you're going to get an auto email with a username and password. Once I receive that, I'll check my junk mail or my spam folder. If you don't see it in your inbox, because you automatically sent it. Once I receive it, I click on member login, top of the page.
Wait, they're not seeing that.
Click on member login. All right, so I go to the website, I'll go back, and I get my username and password in the email. And once I receive that, I click on member login. and it goes to my member login where I can enter my username and password. Simply enter that information in there, and once I'm in, I'll get to the hub of the membership area. It'll tell you, welcome Nicholas, welcome Chi, welcome Robert, welcome people are signing up as we speak, so thank you, I appreciate it. And here's where we have the class schedule when we meet in class, our archives. Click on the archives to give you an example. Once I open the archives, we have a vast selection of archives, including today's class, where we talked about painting the MPAPE2 Picasso, how the software is going to look as it's rotating and cycling, understanding trading the buy and sell cycles, the signs and symptoms I should look for of trading cycles, time frames, on and on as you go through. It goes back all the way 13, 14, 12.
We had to eliminate that some.
We had to eliminate some, but we go back to middle of 11. Early times. So I don't expect you to go back 3 and 4 years ago. I would prefer you stay up to most recent, but hey, go back and look at where we anticipate something's going to go, and then follow it several months later to see when we review it again, did it do what it's supposed to?
So everything's recorded.
So everything's for your viewing pleasure. So whether you attend live, great. If you can't, then this is posted each day. Well, Gary, someone asked, well, what if I can't, and I have a full-time job and I can't attend the live classes? Well, remember, we're setting up the software for times on a daily, weekly, and the cycles, so we will tell you what to look for in the next few minutes, the next few hours, the next several days, the next few weeks, based on how those time frames are cycled. Let me finish up by saying I appreciate your time and attention. I normally only take a limited number of spots. I know you hear that other places, and they'll take anybody and their brother. We're different. We want to limit our number of spots because we take care of our students that have been with us. That's why they've been with us for 5, 6, 7 years and counting. We look forward to you, and remember this, the Market Price Anticipator software empowers you to read and anticipate price in any financial market, on time, in time, all the time. And as we just mentioned, we have over 111 countries and counting. So if you look at our world map and your country's flag is not represented, we welcome you to join us. And we can see even Bora Bora is out here in the middle of the ocean. That's Bora Bora. We know that's Australia. They're all over the place. 111 countries and counting. So in closing, thank you for your time and attention. $97 is a chance of a lifetime. We don't do these often, but when we do, we gladly bring on a handful of new students, and then we take the markets by storm by simply following very simple rules. It's not difficult. Well, it looks like your software's got a lot of lines, it's got a lot of this. It's basic. It's down to cycling time frame, triggers, and slingshots. We simmered it down to the basics and following one simple rule. I don't trade without my buy or sell cycle. So when I have a sell, I can sell. When I have a buy cycle, I can buy. And then once I'm in that buy or sell, do I have my daily, weekly with or against? Am I jumping in this stream and swimming against the trend, against the current? Or am I jumping in this trade and going with the current? Well, if I'm with the higher time frames, I'm with the current, as we like to call it, then I can expect the trade to last and go further. If I'm jumping in for a quick scalp and I know when I'm entering that, say, short trade and everybody else is moving higher, then I know I'm going to look for a reversal by a slingshot reversing in the opposite direction, and I'll take very quick profits, close the short trade, and go long when that new sell cycle's over and I have a buy cycle. It's simple, I promise you. Just need to give it an opportunity. So again, take care. Thank you for your time and attention, and we'll speak to you later. Goodbye, everyone.